Chat, it is time. It is time for your weekly dosage of Best Girl. Happy Mushoku Mondays, everybody. Welcome back to yet another trek, the Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation novel series. We're on Roxy Gets Serious, volumes 5 and 6. And I have to be kind of honest. There's quite a bit of these two volumes that I'm not actually looking forward to talking about. Like, I love a lot in this. I love a lot in these two volumes, especially like Roxy going all the way up to the north, meeting her first friend, Fu. We got Gafu in the house. Gafu's so freaking amazing. I love him to death. Meeting Lanletta, which is sort of a friend, I'm guessing at the moment right now is kind of a friend. Seeing Genus. There's a lot of good stuff in here, going to the university and everything like that. A lot of parallels, obviously, to the mainline series because we're seeing, like, the events that sort of lead to certain things that happen there. But the moment that Luis shows up, the moment that Vassal shows up, my gosh, I am, like, checking out. My brain is checking out. Like, this whole investigation part is not this writer's best writing. Like, this part is just kind of yawn. Like, it facilitates, you know, this growth in the relationship with Gafu and Lanletta, but I'm like, I would have rather something else. Give us something else. Like, Lanletta's sort of developing in her own way. It doesn't really require this whole situation. It just sort of show her being nice to Roxy, but, like, Lanletta's story is kind of, you know, evolving its own way. Gafu can evolve in his own way. I don't necessarily like Luis and Vassal being a part of it because this is just bleh. But anyways, we'll get into it when we get into it. I'm going to probably skip quite a bit of that stuff. I don't really feel like I have much to talk about there. So this might be a shorter Mushoku Monday than usual, but we'll see. Like, the last time I said it was going to be short, it ended up being an hour. But before then, hey chat. Welcome to the premiere. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week after Mushoku Monday. I greatly appreciate your guys' support, your kind words, all that stuff. It means a great, great deal to me. And yes, most importantly, greatly appreciate it. Support channel monetarily through Patreon, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It means a great, great deal to me that you guys part with your hard-earned money in order to keep this going. But with that said, let's just jump into it. First things first, the covers. We have to talk about the covers. I love both of these a lot for their own reasons. This one is just the cutest. This little pose and everything is super freaking cute. Little Miss Bookworm right here, going to the university, you know, just consuming all that knowledge. But yeah, this one's just cute because of close-up. She's so adorable. Freaking Rocky's so adorable. I love the back art, too. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. I love these little chibi arts. I love the little chibi arts. I just adore these. I almost want to, like, get them all cut out and put them on my, in the Discord or something, but we'll see. We'll see. That said, though, let's dive into it. Part 3, volumes 5 and 6. We left things off. She was traveling up to north, obviously, to go to the Renoa University of Magic. On the way there, it has quite a bit of, like, interactions with the group that she's going with because she does have an escort mission that she has to do. There's other guards there that are, you know, patrolling with her. Seems like there's one individual that is kind of taking a shine to her. There's this guy that's kind of taking a shine to her, you know, hitting on her on a regular basis. It really kind of stems from, and it seemed pretty obvious from the get-go, is you have this little moment where, you know, Roxy and all them are camping out, and you have the merchant that they're working for. He's a halfling, and his son's a halfling, and this merchant father is trying to take his son up to the university so that the son can learn math. He can major in math. Thus, it'll help him with his job. And there's a lot of story about the fact that this, you know, this merchant's really trying to help out his son, help out Gafu so that he can have a easier life, whereas he kind of struggled to get his riches. Now his son can have a little better life than he had. Obviously, getting a little bit into the discrimination that still exists even for halflings, that it's this area, the central continent, you know, all these countries, Astra specifically, these are places that are, yeah, built by humans for humans. There's no place for anyone else, including even halflings. So he wants to bring his son up there where there's no discrimination, so they say, so that he can learn and, you know, have a little step up. So that's kind of that introduction there. Well, this entire time, Gafu is like just absolutely just doki doki for Roxy. It's pretty obvious. Every 2 seconds, he's constantly wanting Roxy to come to him, to talk to him. He's bored or whatever. You know, obviously has a little crush there. Everybody's teasing Roxy, and she's like, dude, I'm 28 right now. No, go ahead and just, you know, just play along with him. He'll probably like it. No, I'm not into that. I am not going to date some little kid. That is not okay with me. I even says it later on when Gafu's like, you know, actually trying to pursue her. She's like, that's not a good thing. He's like, no, age gap's fine. No, that's not good. Anyways, while they're conversing here about the whole situation with the university, they ask Roxy what she's doing going up there. And like, well, you're an adventurer. You're an A rank already. Why would you even want to go up there? She's going up there, obviously, to study more in magic. It does start to kind of bring up the question mark around, like, why are you so into magic? What is, like, your driving force here? I assume that based on, like, what we sort of talked about previously with Roxy and her learning magic, I would assume that a lot of it has to do with her master. But it seemed like after, of course, the whole incident that happened in the previous volumes, you know, at the end of volume 4, it does feel like this sort of feels like a break-off point from her master. Like, she taught me all these great things, and now she's giving me this little recommendation letter to go up to the university. Now I'm taking my own next steps. I got to reunite with her. I got to tell her that I want to do all this stuff. It is odd that she never really did confront her master about wanting to travel with her, because that was the desire that she had back when she was in the, you know, her hometown. She wanted to tell her master, please take me with you. I want to travel with you. And she didn't get that chance to say that. So I almost thought that she wanted to do that when she finally met up with Bloody Cant again. But then she didn't. I think it's because she's established herself. She wanted to travel with Cant back there because she wanted to get out of the village. But now she's already out of the village. Why would she need to tell Cant that I want to travel with you, take me with you, when I don't think that necessarily is what she wants? She wants to do her own thing. And so, yeah, right here, the question mark is really like, why is she obsessed with magic? Again, I would assume that's because Master taught me that. And it's a special thing, kind of like with Rudius and Roxy. She taught me this magic, and so magic is special in some way. Wasn't really the case. So, yeah, sort of the question mark right here. But because of this conversation, going back to what I originally brought this up for, during this conversation, they're like, wow, how could you afford that? Why would you need to go to the university because you like magic? Well, that's a lot of money to go there, as that tuition's huge. Well, one individual is taking note of this, and this is the point where I'm like, yeah, this guy's after her money. One of these guys that's with her is constantly just buttering it on. I want to be with you more. Hey, let's get together. Hey, when we get up there, let's give up adventuring and let's live together. You can give up that magic and we can just be together. Being adventurer is dangerous. All this kind of stuff. There's like a moment where she's even reflecting back on Hawkendale and Nokopata and Blaze, and she got a little bit of a pain expression. He's like, I don't want you to be pain anymore. I want you to have fun with your life. Stop being an adventurer. Let's live together. It's because he wants the tuition money. He knows that it costs a bunch to get in that university, and he's just trying to romance Roxy so that he'll get that money from her, because as we find out when he get there, he's got a big tab. So that whole bit aside, that whole thing of the guy flirting with her constantly, it is cute seeing, again, Gafu being a little bit jealous. This kid is just absolutely in love with Roxy and just doki doki for her and trying to get her attention to pull away from this nasty guy. Just seeing him like flustered over her and drawing her attention and her kind of playing into it every now and then. There's one moment where it does sort of kind of, you know, lead to something interesting with Gafu, because Gafu doesn't like that this guy is constantly telling Roxy what she should do with her life, what she should do with her money. And it's obviously a misunderstanding because Gafu believes that Roxy is a child like he is, and that he thinks that this guy that's hitting on Roxy, hitting on her, is trying to tell her what to do with her life, just like all other parents do with him. So he's like, yeah, I hate that guy because he's telling you what you should do with your life. I don't think that he should be able to do that. That grown-up should do that. It annoys him that this guy would do that. But again, we know that that Roxy's not a kid either. So it is, again, a little misunderstanding. But it's a cute little moment with Gafu. But yeah, after this little discussion with Gafu, she sort of does have a realization about what is magic to her. Again, that question that was brought up earlier. Why are you going to the university? You already know magic. You look like you're pretty capable. You're already an A-rank adventurer. Why do you need to learn more magic? What is magic to me, she questions. First, it was a way to get out of the village. Yeah, technically. When she learned magic, it was a way of being able to fight monsters, become an adventurer, be able to survive out there. Then, it was a way to put food on the table. Yeah, going to the Venture Guild, being able to take on quests, being able to take down quests. Then, it was a way to connect to other people. This sort of highlights specifically people like Maver and Gadolf, which I'm assuming is more for the idea of like learning further magic and learning more things. And again, technically being able to fight alongside them. So it's kind of similar to the previous one. And then it concludes it by saying every step, it's always been there for me. I think that really is where it kind of comes down when it's, again, straying away from my original thought, which is I want to learn magic because that's what Master taught me, and I love magic so much. Like Water Ball, it was the first magic I ever learned. It's special to her because Kant taught me this. But no, it's evolved into something so much more. every single point in my life, it becomes something different. It's something of another stepping stone in my life. It was a cool little self-reflection that she has. Anyways, they arrive in the north, and yeah, immediately this guy, we find out that he has a big, massive tab, and Roxy rejects him and then runs off to the university. I like how it cuts from legit like, oh, so that's what this guy was after. He was after my money. Well, let me sell him no, and slaps him. And then just cuts straight to her being at the university, signing up, getting a dorm room. It's like, cut away, we're right there. I'm now a student. I don't have to worry about love anymore. Love is just going to get in my way. I have to focus on my studies. But yeah, that's where we meet, yes, her roommate, Lanetta. I found this kind of interesting. Lanetta so far has been sort of a treat in a way. I think at first I was a little bit off put by her, but I was assuming that there was going to be something more to her. But yeah, the first impressions weren't good. The moment that she opens that dorm room and the place is just full of trash. The place is just a trash heap. There was moments where Roxy felt like she wanted to, go request a new roommate. But I was like, girl, if this is the worst of your problems with this girl, stay there. Like, there's always the possibility the next person that you end up with is going to be much worse than her. And by all signs, there's never really been a moment where Lanetta was really, discriminatory against Roxy. And I would assume that very quickly Roxy would pick up on that. That Lanetta never mentions her race really in a very derogatory way, or at least looks down upon her. Lanetta only looks down upon Roxy because she's poorer than her, because she doesn't have money. And it's really more of a thing of like, I see you as sort of a thing that I can do transactions with. You're an adventurer. So obviously whenever I need something done, I'll just give you money for it. That's how it kind of works, right? So I'd never seen that Lanetta was like a very bad individual. It's just that she's a rich kid. She handles everything with money. But I do love that as I now, again, go through the story with you guys, I love that there's these little moments where I'm going, oh, that's why Lanetta did that. Oh, that's why Lanetta did this. Is because, as we find out later on, this girl doesn't know magic, or at least she's not good with magic. And so every moment where she was trying to get Roxy to help her was, yes, a lot of the cases she's being lazy. But there's some cases where she wasn't able to do that. She didn't have the capability of doing that. Example, at some point, one of the other people of the dorm come by and say, Lanetta was on the schedule to refill the bucket in the bathroom with water. And yes, for Roxy, that's simple. You could just go over there and cast water magic into it. Lanetta should be able to too. That's the problem. So she would just get somebody else to do it because she didn't want to have anybody see her take it and go get water when she should be able to just put water in it with magic. Which does beg the question mark, if we're in a University of Magic, why does it need to be refilled? Anyways. That aside. Anyways, yeah, Roxy first arrives there, gets her dorm room, is roommate with Lanetta, who is, again, extremely messy. We get to see her life at the university, going to the cafeteria, buying really cheap food. Her tuition was much cheaper thanks to the letter recommendation, but she's still poor. She's still broke. So she's having to buy really cheap soup, but it's good cheap soup. Like it's got tons of meat and veggies in it, but yeah, obviously getting a lot of looks from the richer individuals and whatnot, but it doesn't seem like it's really kind of letting her keep her down. She's just kind of ignoring a lot of it. But that all kind of encouraged her though, because with, the lack of money, she has to focus on getting a scholarship. If she can do good grades, do really good, she can get that scholarship and then she'll be set. But I love this because, seeing how much Roxy is struggling at the university, again, this is where we start to get the little parallels to, what they had in the mainline series. One specific thing that kind of stood out to me the most was, I think it was in the redundancies or something like that, they got into the talking about the booklet that was at the store. When Rudius was looking for other, scriptures, holy scriptures of Roxy in the university, he ended up finding this one little booklet that was at the university shop that was something that Roxy left behind for other students that were struggling financially. And then get into the fact that a lot of it, what's in there sort of does pull people away from buying from the shop because it's telling alternative ways to get the ingredients. That's what we get into with this entire segment. As we see, one of the earliest things that she runs into is that, yes, this magic circles teacher wants them to all go out and get all these different ingredients, and they're available at the shop, but Roxy can't afford them. So what she has to do is figure out, okay, they're obviously local. There's going to be a lot of these things that are going to be local here. So if I can find those. And it goes into, yes, her doing, adventure work jobs and finding adventure work jobs for those particular materials. Like, again, a lot of the stuff that was in that little booklet that, Rudy has found was exactly what has been built over time with her experiences at the university. Finding cheap foods, finding local places you can go to find cheaper materials or ingredients to cook for yourself. Different things for those on a budget to survive in the University of Magic that, yes, accepts a lot of people of different backgrounds, but isn't going to give you everything you need in order to survive. I love this. Again, I love all this little insights into Roxy's journey in the university and, again, finding ways to survive. But yeah, as she's doing her lecture, she's finding out really quickly that, yeah, they're only really covering the basics of all this stuff. It's kind of a waste of time, but just kind of looking at a positive light and the idea of, learning from the ground up. Let's restart, see if I can find something new, find brand new insights into things that, I already learned before. We get a little frustrating moments with Lanletta as Roxy's discovering that this girl is not taking her school life seriously. It's moments where she's questioning, why is Lanletta even here? It doesn't seem like she cares about school. She's sleeping in class. A lot of people are making comments about her specifically in that she likes to pay people off a lot. I mean, Roxy's seeing it. In often cases, people are just bringing her stuff, bringing her notes or whatever, and she's constantly just paying people for stuff. Oh, I need this done? Here's money. Here's money. Just sleeping everywhere, not getting anything done, seeming like she just doesn't want to be there. Which, yes, to Roxy is extremely frustrating to see. I think of Roxy, of anybody, that kind of personality of, again, not really taking for granted what you have is going to be frustrating. Again, Roxy's sitting here struggling. She really badly wants to learn magic. It kind of implies later on that Roxy knows that Lanletta likes magic. It just doesn't seem like she's taking any of this stuff seriously. And yes, as we see later on, Lannetta's trying to pay her for stuff. It frustrates Roxy even more, the fact that she doesn't want to handle things herself, doesn't want to clean up after herself, doesn't handle her own situations, doesn't learn things herself. It's a frustrating thing for her. But I love seeing Roxy, just some of the expressions of Roxy just being super pissed off about this. Like, God, this woman. Like, cutting forward, like, we get to the point where at some point Roxy ends up catching Lanletta as she's trying to cast magic late at night alone. It's like there's a moment where she's like, oh yeah, she is trying hard. She is taking this seriously. She just is hiding it. Maybe she'll change now that I know her secret. No, right back. No, she didn't change at all. She's right back to paying people and sleeping in class and everything. This girl, like, I love the little frustration moments of Roxy. There's this whole set, I will say, like, especially these 2 volumes, like, there's a ramp up of this artist, like, just having the most, like, angry, frustrated, derpy looking faces of Roxy just being stunned and puzzled. It's just, I love the goofy faces that she had in this little segment here, but most of it's around Lanletta, like, just, this girl is driving me crazy. Why can't she take this stuff seriously? I really did feel like over time it was going to turn into a thing where Roxy herself sort of encourages Lanletta to take stuff seriously, but it does sort of turn into a thing of more of it's a compromise. I think what we end up having in the end with Lanletta and Roxy is a compromise, because what we start out with is this girl doesn't want to take school seriously. It drives Roxy crazy. She's an absolute pig. Everything that she wants, she just pays for. Even people make comments about the fact that, oh, you're roommated with Lanletta? Man, you're going to make some money, aren't you? And they're just like, what are you talking about? It's because Lanletta just pays everybody to do everything for her because she has a lot of money. But Roxy herself, while she needs that money really, really bad, she doesn't like this girl walking all over her. She doesn't like the idea of Lanletta getting away with just paying for everything. There's almost like a self-respect thing that Roxy just can't get past and doesn't like. I can easily feed off of this for an entire week, and I literally have no money. No, I'm not doing it. Literally, Roxy will starve that night. She doesn't have any food to eat that night, but she will reject Lanletta because, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just wait till tomorrow. I'll go to the Adventure Guild. I'll get a quest, maybe make some money, and then I'll eat tomorrow. Like, it's literally she's going to have to not have food for an entire 24 hours just to not do what Lanletta wants her to do. It's interesting to see this kind of conflict with Lanletta. And again, it does seem like, for the most part, she doesn't care about school. She's always sleeping, and she's not, taking anything seriously. It isn't until eventually, at some point, Roxy again spots Lanletta training by herself that she realizes, oh, yeah, she does like magic. So what is she doing? She's watching Lanletta. Lanletta's casting this magic. She's trying to cast earth magic. She ends up collapsing over, using magic too much. runs out of magic, collapses. Roxy catches her. Immediately, Lynetta thinks that Roxy is now going to mock her. Oh, how long have you been watching? Are you here to laugh at me? Are you here to look down upon me and laugh at me? Sure you would, because you're a demon. This comes natural for you demons, obviously. I love the fact that Roxy's like, oh, wow. Wait, why are you smiling? I've never had somebody actually jealous of my heritage. Lynetta's actually jealous of me for being a demon because it comes so naturally to me. It's interesting in this little conversation because it sort of hints at the fact that Lynetta used to be able to use magic. That implies that she's forgotten how to, or that she's lost the ability to. So that's the odd thing there. I'm curious if they'll get into eventually. But for right now, she's struggling to use magic that she claims that she's done before. And it turns this thing where because of her position, because of who she is, because of what, she's established, she cannot have people know that she can't use magic anymore. This is a massive thing about like her position and whatnot. And so she's choosing to sleep during class and pay others to do things because she doesn't want it to reveal to people around her, classmates and whatnot and staff, that she doesn't know magic. And in the middle of the night, she's training really hard to try to learn how to use magic in secrecy. And now Roxy obviously knows her secret. So I'll be curious, what that's going to lead into in the future. I'm assuming that eventually, I was hoping by now that Roxy would be helping her to learn magic, but I think that more goes to Lynetta's, pride. She doesn't want that to happen there. But either way, yeah, we have this whole situation kind of come to reveal. Again, doesn't change her at all. We get to find out later on through them, investigating this whole situation with the stolen books, that Lynetta does have some local family that have been established some sort of chain, like they're merchants or something like that. I think overall they did well with Lynetta's character. I think that early moments having that, high and mighty attitude that Roxy slowly starts to chip away with, they come to agreement of sort of a compromise. I love these little moments where Roxy's like having to bring home a bunch of meat. I love it. She runs into this monster and is like, ooh, meat. Kills this monster, brings back this massive chunk of meat, and then just like starts to string it up inside the dorm room. And Lena's like, what the hell are you doing? I don't want to smell that. She's like, what, your side's all dirty. Let me do with what I want to do with my side. She's like, okay, well, I'll clean up my side if you put that away. Okay, well, I'll put it inside of jars with salt. There's a compromise there, right? There's all about compromise. These two just compromising with each other. But then over time, later on, this girl, she obviously likes Roxy. Yeah, there's a moment where suddenly it's like, yeah, she's going out of her way to clear Roxy's name when she's falsely accused. She's working alongside Fu to, investigate all these people to try to find the real culprit. She's obviously wanting to help out Roxy. But yeah, that's pretty much Lynetta. I know I kind of just went down a rabbit hole to kind of get fully into her, which is fine. But yes, I guess we should get into the other person. While Roxy's at the university, yes, eventually she runs into the young master, the halfling, the son of the halfling merchant, Fu. Fu, yes, young master that she keeps calling young master, then until eventually he goes, please stop calling me young master because I want to be your friend. Okay, Master Fu. I love Gafu so much. He turned out to be quite a treasure. I do know that if I recall correctly, there is a mention of a halfling merchant that is in the story of Otis and Aisha, the redundancy chapters. There's a merchant there that is a halfling that is working with Roxy to look for Otis, or at least watching him. And that's the person that Otis eventually goes to talk to contact Roxy. And I think there's an assumption that might be Gafu, that Refugin sort of inserted that character there from the manga, which I think is really cool if this is the case. I mean, there's no other mention of halfling merchants in the rest of the storyline, so I'd assume it's going to be him. It would check out right, because this guy is madly in love with Roxy, unless he dies in this series, which I guess that might be spoilers to assume that then. Unless he dies, which I hope not, he's like head over heels for her, so I can totally see him doing whatever she needs. If you need me to watch Otis, sure. For how many years? But no, yeah, Gafu is just a treat. I love him to death. He's just constantly trying to, be friends with Roxy. Becomes, yes, Roxy's first friend. Just like at some point she kind of realizes it. Wait, nobody's ever asked to be my friend before. I have a friend. It's so cute. It's so cute. But yeah, he really badly wants to be equal to her. There's a interesting little moment in that whole conversation about becoming equals that I do like, though. Again, he's like, don't call me young master. Call me Gafu. Okay, Master Fu. He's trying to make her stop, speaking up to him in being so formal with him. And she says at some point, well, it makes sense, right? I have to speak that way to you because I'm a demon. And if I don't speak to you any other way, then people will question that. So there's an element there where she's speaking politely to him and to other people because she wants to portray this idea of being, it's almost like being subservient. Because if I don't speak that way, they'll think that I'm speaking down to them, and thus they'll think that I'm acting like I'm equal to them, and it's just going to cause problems. And then there's the other aspect that, everybody assumes that she's a kid because she's a Magurdian. So it comes in that whole aspect that if she speaks equal to people or above them, they're going to think that she's some kid that's being disrespectful. So she just kind of turned this mode where she's like, I'll just, purposely talk like this just to avoid conflict. And yeah, the moment that I read that, I'm like, again, another parallels to the mainline series, something that Rudius did for the longest time. I mean, technically he did that for like a majority of the entire mainline series, but still, it's like, yeah, that's technically something that Rudius did, that Roxy did at some point. Again, very different situation here for Roxy, again, being the fact that she's dealing with, persecution, discrimination, and again, just people thinking that she's a kid and she doesn't want to cause conflict. It's easier to just go with the flow, don't rock the boat, basically. That's her mindset and why she talks the way that she does. Again, it's cute to see, Gafu trying to change that a little bit. My boy Gafu. I did like him, though. Several times him showing up and trying to defend her when it comes to people being discriminatory against her or whatever. And she's just like, no, come on, just sit down with me. Let's just eat together. And then being all flustered constantly with it. At some point having Lenletta like, you really like her, don't you? Yes, dude. Like, yeah, this boy is just head over heels for her, just badly wants her attention. Every time there's a situation that she needs help, he's just constantly trying to help, trying to clear her name with the whole situation with the book and the library, and him basically saying, I'll do anything for you, trying to do the investigation, clear her name. Then later on, having to do this whole stakeout, and she's like, no, you focus on what you're here for. You have your dreams that you're here for. You're trying to prove yourself to your father, prove that you can be his right-hand man and, tackle everything. Focus on that. Well, if you need anything, you let me know. Please don't hesitate. Sure enough, later on, it's like, okay, I need to go to the dorms and the male dorms and investigate these people. Yeah, right for it. I can do it. He's great. He's great. Oh, yeah. Getting into the dreams. I did like that whole segment. Getting into what Gafu himself is hoping to do with the university. Again, it was originally talking about becoming going to Masters of Math or whatever. Something that's going to be able to help him be a merchant. It does get into the idea that, yes, he wants to be, prove himself worthy of being his father's right-hand man. He wants to be somebody that can, be his father's side. But yes, it does get into also, as he wants to, go out adventuring with Roxy, there's a side of it that is almost like he wants to have an excuse to hang out with Roxy by going with her to the Adventure Guild as she's doing her jobs. But there's also an element here where he wants to learn more about the world. We'll learn more about the ingredients that he's selling, the process of actually gathering them, what they look like. There is a lot of real world experiences for being a merchant that he feels that he can get from being an adventurer. And so he does sign up, even though he can't legit even group up with her because she's A rank and he's F rank. I love that. He's all excited. Let's go to the Adventure Guild. I'm going to sign up. She's like, oh, over here. Yeah, he needs to sign up. Oh, yeah, great. Let me get signed up. She walks off and she comes back and he's got this other group that's trying to recruit him. And he's like, no, I'm going to group up with her. Oh, I can't because I'm A rank. You're F rank. We can't group up together. And her just following him around. She's worried because some random group, when she first comes to the Adventure Guild, they're trying to recruit her because they hear that people coming to the university quickly join up with the Adventure Guild at the same time, about this time of the year. And so they assume that she's some rich person that's come to the university, and they're a little bit off put by the fact that she's a demon. It's like, no, I'm already A rank. And then they see Gafu and immediately try to get him. It's odd that it never really turns into anything. That's the odd thing there. They were specifically looking for just newcomers to the university that they can swipe up into their group, and it implied because they're going to be rich. But they never really did anything with it. They were actually really cool. It starts off like these might be some people trying to swindle Gafu, but they end up being good people in the end. They're actually doing a proper job with their, missions they're taking. Initially it's like, oh, well, we're going to take this quest right here because we're not fighters. We're low rank adventurers. we do gathering quests and whatnot. So they go out and they do this little gathering thing, and yeah, sure enough, it ends up being all the ingredients that Roxy's actually needing for her magic circles. So as they're telling, Gafu where all this stuff is, and she's sneaking around and watching them from a distance to make sure that they don't hurt Gafu and Gafu doesn't get attacked. She's watching and gathering all the ingredients at the same time. But they're like literally going, okay, this part, oh yeah, usually monsters have those particular ingredients, but we're not going to fight monsters. Instead, you go over here and you'll find the stashes. The monsters take those ingredients and they stash them here. So while the monster's gone, you just take them from the stash. So they're very knowledgeable about what they're doing, and they're being very safe what they do with Gafu. Later on, when it gets into Gafu going, hey, I really want to take down, a hunt. Let's do a hunt quest. Okay, well, you're going to watch us and we'll do the hunt. But we're only going to do this because of their rank. Like, they're being, again, very careful about their jobs. Like, that makes sense, obviously, right? Because they're adventurers. If they want to survive, they're going to do this properly. They're not going to be stupid about it. But again, it was kind of interesting to have the introduction. It sounds like they want to swindle Gafu and Roxy, but they're actually good people. And even later on, when they're needing a little bit extra help to try to find the person that stole this stuff, they're requiring money out of it. They're legit not wanting to help because they just want to help out Gafu and his girlfriend. No, they're still requesting some sort of guild requests because they want experience. They want, more stamps to put on their card, and they're forcing Lanetta to kind of have to make a, guild request out of it. They're still not bad people in the end, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, that's all said. That's pretty much all of Gafu. That's all of Lanetta. That's pretty much their experiences with Roxy at the university, eventually leading to them helping out Roxy and clearing her name from being a thief of books of the library of the University of Magic. I guess we should probably get into how we get to there. Yes, Roxy's life at the university with these two individuals. Eventually, one day, while she's, living her days on the university, scrounging money together, just trying to get by, eventually one day, she's going to Magic Circle classes, and their Magic Circle teacher she's a Magic Circle fanatic. She's a Magic Circle otaku. Let's just call it what it is. She's a Magic Circle otaku. This lady is obsessed with Magic Circles. She goes and explains the Magic Circle process of creating the circle, using special inks and all that kind of stuff. But eventually saying that, yes, there's a special ink that she has created that doesn't require, magic crystals. And I'm going to show you how to make it. Again, she gets all the materials, ends up doing it, and putting the process together. And then after the demonstrations and everybody tries it out, at some point, Roxy catches her attention. And she, as Gina says later on, tries to convert Roxy into her obsession with magic circles. As Gina says later on, this teacher every single year has one victim, somebody that she is going to force into becoming a fanatic just like her. And so yeah, this lady pretty much forces Roxy to go to the library, look up a bunch of books on magic circles, and come back with a report. And so Roxy's like, hey, I was looking for an excuse to go to the library. I might as well use this to be the opportunity. So yes, Roxy goes to the library for the first time. And this ends up being one thing that she was looking forward to the most with the university. I mean, the University of Magic is great and everything, but they're kind of known for their library. So when she arrives there, she looks around for a little bit, really liking it. Eventually finds a Saint tier magic book that she says, no, I don't need that. Puts it away. Before that is overheard by Genus Halphus. Yes, Genus, the professor that later on, again, is the mainline series that Ruius eventually bumps into the university, finds out that, oh yeah, that is, Roxy's master. My teacher's teacher. Yes, Genus is there, and takes offense to this because obviously that book's wrote by him. And yes, he explains the whole situation with the teacher, and yeah, tells her pretty much go along with it. You're just going to have to go along with it. Otherwise, it's probably going to impact your grades. You're going to want to go along with it. Here's some books. Try these ones out. Oh, no, yeah, read my book because I'm good at it. But yes, that conversation also opens up the opportunity for her to learn under him because she's like, hey, can I learn under you? I'll learn magic, water magic. And he's like, oh, you like water magic? Yeah, I really like water magic because that was the first spell I learned was Water Ball. And he's like, whoa, wait. Typically, demons are having affinity to fire and earth. Which, yes, makes a lot of sense for their environment. Again, affinity magic is often cases going to be about your environment. Again, for Sylphie herself, she didn't have much affinity for fire because she burnt herself. So it's all about your environment around you. And so it would make sense for Roxy to have an affinity to earth and fire, but for some reason, water was the thing that she's kind of leaned towards. So it's kind of a little surprising Genus. But yes, he does open the door. Like, yeah, I'm not going to discriminate against you. If you want to learn under me, sure, my door's open. Which pretty much turns into him constantly telling her books to go read. I'll teach you, read these books. Read my book. Here's my book. She's like, oh, his name's in there. No wonder he suggests this. But yeah, so during her time doing her studies for the Magic Circle and, again, whatever Genus kind of offers, eventually he does offer one book that has 2 volumes. The second volume is missing from the shelf, which over time she's trying to find, eventually almost about to give up. And then she gets a bunch of money from a mission, and then she ends up spotting that book that she's been looking for at the marketplace. And she quickly swipes it up. Well, technically, Gafu helps her out by, haggling down the price, but kind of find out the book is stolen from the University of Magic. Big shocker, right? This is what I hate. I hate so much about this. Yes, Lanletta points it out to her. Hey, that's got the symbol to the university right there. I think that's stolen. Roxy goes to turn it in at the library. As she's on the way, she ends up seeing all the guards out there. And she gets in there and she's like, hey, about this book. And they freaking throw her in a cell. Now, yes, now that I step back and I think about it, it makes perfect sense. Because again, this is Roxy Magurdia. She is a demon. And so I can see, despite this constant mention about the fact that they don't discriminate, they're all about equality here, they're still going to see her as a demon and throw her in a cell, assuming she's evil. Again, this is perception that people have, that demon equals evil. And even later on, when they're trying to clear her name, there is an element here where, oh, you're a demon, obviously you would be the thief. Oh, we heard that it was a demon, obviously they're evil. And Roxy gets into this whole desire to clear her name, specifically because she wants to prove to them that it wasn't a demon. Even if it wasn't you, but it would probably be another demon. She wants to prove that wrong. So there's an element here where, yes, they probably threw her straight to the cell because demon. But it's kind of annoying that, like, she literally brought you it. Why would she be the one at fault when she brought you the book? Like, they're talking about a whole inventory list of things were stolen. Why would she bring one of them back and go, here you guys go, I found this? It's just stupid. the whole situation is stupid. But yes, she gets charged for it, and while she's stuck in there, they're questioning Lanletta and Gafu. Gafu's like, you guys are idiot. There's no way that she would do that. She got some extra money from the guild. That's why she had it, and she wanted to splurge on that. Okay, we're trying to confirm that. We'll let you know when we find that out. They're questioning Lanletta. Yes, Lanletta is kind of mean here because she's not Roxy's friend. She's kind of a neutral party right here. It just feels like Lanletta's kind of like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, not really. Like, she's not saying that Roxy did something that she didn't do, but she's not, like, denying things either. But, yeah, this turns into Lanletta being tsundere and helping out Gafu, figure out the real culprit, find the guy that technically sold the book, eventually clearing Roxy's name. And again, Roxy turning this whole situation into a desire to clear her name. There was, like, a little brief moment when Lanletta and Gafu were talking about, the charges being placed upon Roxy, and how, again, they were discriminating against her because she was demon, and how Lanletta sort of finds Gafu to be a little bit too naive about the aspect of this place not discriminating against people. Again, that's true, right? Again, because everybody there is still seeing Roxy as a bad person because she's demon, and assuming that she did this because she's a demon. There is an element here where, despite the fact that they claim that, it's not really true. I think that's, again, what sort of Genus is sort of acting as sort of a way of getting around that. And that, yeah, as Roxy's trying to clear her name, trying to get the inventory list of what's been stolen to try to help them investigate, Genus is the one that's going to step forward and say, here you go. The lady at the counter, the librarian lady, it seems like she's straight up discriminatory against Roxy. Genus is like, no, here, take it, here, have it. Go do whatever you're going to do. Fine, whatever. If you can clear your name, whatever. Again, there's still good people here. It's not everybody's discriminatory. Just, again, I think the only people that are really naive to it is probably Gafu until this moment right here. But yes, that leads into the big investigation sequence for this whole set of chapters that, again, like I mentioned at the very beginning of this Mushoku Monday, wasn't the most entertaining bit. I was like, gosh dang, please, I don't care about Luis. I don't care about Vassal. What is this story? It starts out with the idea that, again, they're looking for this individual, trying to figure out who was selling the book. Eventually, they do get a description of them. Roxy decides to, stake out the outside of the library, trying to, wait for the moment that this guy's going to arrive up. Eventually does, ends up being this Luis Russell. And as she's investigating Luis, trying to get something out of him, she ends up finding out this is a guy that, like, created this really good magical staff. And the Magic Guild itself hasn't quite, recognized it yet. And so Roxy, while doing the investigation, starts to help him out with his problems with the magical staff, which turns into a funny little bit with the whole, like, how the staff itself works. I thought he was messing with her. I legit thought he was playing her like a fiddle. Yeah, he's like, okay, how it works is that you have to do different poses while you're casting certain spells, and it will amplify certain spells based on what you're doing. So it's like, it implies that if she does a certain pose and then does water ball, it'll increase the damage of water ball by like 3 times or something like that. Like, it amplifies it only when you do different poses. So he's having her do like a kitty cat thing, lift up one leg up above your head, which is like really lewd. Just all these different extremely inappropriate poses, all for the sake of amplifying magic. And it's just like, this is so stupid. This cannot be real. And then later on, after he does, all the feedback she gives him, he goes back to the drawing board and starts to improve things a bit. He needs some certain materials in order to improve it. And he's like, okay, I got a way to improve it. It's going to improve the efficiency by 2%. She's like, that's not the worst part about how your staff works. You have all these other things else to fix, not the efficiency of it. Fix that so I don't have to hold my leg above my head whenever I'm doing this freaking cast. It's dorky, but it again, I thought it was him messing with her, but it turns out to be real. This Russell guy, this Luis Russell, is trying to improve the staff, and Roxy is going along with it to investigate him if he stole these books, but at the same time, she's helping him out. And I think there's an element where, like, he's legitimately trying to do this. He's trying to prove himself, and as we find out, he's getting funding by somebody else who's stealing the books. So Luis himself is not a bad person, and Roxy legitimately wants to help him and doesn't feel like he's a bad person. So her instincts are right. He's a good person that's just being misled. Yeah, we end up finding out eventually that as Luis is trying to perfect his staff, he's getting help from his friend Vassal. And Vassal seems to be somebody that Luis trusts a lot, because even later on when they start suspecting Vassal, he's like, no, it can't be true. Vassal's a good person. And honestly, I'm getting mixed messages on if Vassal is somebody that Luis should trust. Like, we had that little brief scene where Vassal walks in on Luis, and Luis is like, yeah, I've almost got this big breakthrough on my staff, and I'm just going to need some materials and stuff like that. I'm getting an impression that Vassal might be trying to use Luis to potentially take his findings. It does seem like Vassal is helping Luis by giving him books to sell, getting half of it. But I almost wonder if potentially Vassal's waiting for Luis to get a big breakthrough in his staff and then steal it from him, or at least take credit for it in some way. Because the way that he kind of responds to Luis finding this breakthrough, it almost feels like, are you able to get there? Are you almost at that point? Now, it could be that he wants to take the staff from Luis and give it to, as we find out, this lady at the brothel that he knows. But I don't know. Again, I feel like almost that Vassal is helping Luis, but I think there's going to be a catch to it. At some point, he's going to want to steal whatever Luis is working on for himself. I don't think he's helping Luis out of the goodness of his heart. But again, Luis seems to trust him, so. But yes, after they do confront Luis about the whole stolen book, that does lead into them investigating Vassal, which, yes, gets into his whole story, which I think Vassal might be more interesting in the end than what we got with Luis. Vassal turns out to be this guy that knows this girl, Abella, at the brothel since they were kids, and knew that she was really into becoming a magician. But unfortunately, things happen, and then she ended up at the brothel instead, and he's still trying to help her with her dream. He's still bringing her stuff to help her, learn magic. He's teaching her magic, bringing her books and everything, and she's really grateful of him. I'm assuming that he's being real here, that he potentially sees that she had this dream and wants her to pursue that dream, is that unfortunately she's in this position. And yeah, he seems to bang her at the same time. It's like, might as well while he's there, I guess. If he's paying for it, he's there, he might as well, bang. She seems to really love him. So, I mean, it seems to work out in the end. But I'm really hoping in the end, Vassal's story ends up being really interesting, because I feel like everything building up to this with the stolen book and everything and Luis has been kind of blah. Again, except for the fact that it shows this bond between Gafu, Lanletta, and Roxy growing. Like, I love this old moment where, they go out to investigate again, and Gafu's like, "You're coming with us, right, Lanletta?" And she's like, "Well, I ain't got nothing better to do." It's like, "Yeah, let's do it." It's like this little band of goofballs just trying to clear Roxy's name. I love it. But I'm hoping Vassal will be interesting. It does imply that he is the son of, like, the dean or something like that. So he's getting, like, all these books for free because, I mean, they're like, "Oh, here, throw it away or whatever. You can do whatever you want with it. They're being discarded or whatever." And so he's like, "Oh, yeah, cool. I'll take that." Or no, it was like the son of library's dean. So he's got, like, connection straight to the library itself. So whenever they have stuff to discard, he's getting it. And so he's just taking it straight to this girl. I'll be curious, with that position, you would assume that it's going to be a pretty high position. He has a lot of money to himself. Why he wouldn't pull this girl out of there if he did really care for her, unless it's just, again, the situation itself doesn't really allow for it. So, again, I hope that his story is at least decent. But that all said, that's the story so far. Getting into, again, the end of Volume 6, hoping it kind of transitioned from here to a cool climactic end to this whole story. Again, to the whole parallels to the mainline series, this is sort of an answer as to why the library itself was so locked down once Ruius got there. I'm assuming a lot of this has to do with that. They were talking, I think, previously about how there was a lot of books being stolen, and so they had to kind of get really strict about no books leaving the premises. Because even Lanletta at some point assumes that Roxy got the approval because she had a magic book in her possession. She assumed that she rented it from the library. And she's like, "No, I bought it." "Oh, how would you buy it?" It does imply that there is a process to get the books out of the library. It's just a timely bureaucratic process. So I'd assume that this whole incident, what Vassal's doing here, is going to lead them to locking down the library like they have in the mainline series. Like, you just, this, you're not taking this stuff out of the premises. But anyways, that is these set of chapters for these 2 volumes. I'm looking forward to how this concludes and getting on with the story and moving on from here. Again, I do love Gafu. He's been a real treat. Again, I love a lot of the goofy shenanigans with Roxy at the university, especially her frustrations with Lanletta. But hopefully this story with Luis and whatnot gets cleared up here soon. But yeah, that's it for this Mushoku Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed this Mushoku Monday. As always, if you did, make sure to hit the like button before you leave. It's an easy and free way for you to support the channel, and I greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel through your kind words and all that other support. And yes, greatly appreciate everybody that support the channel monetarily through Patreon, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. Thank you. But until the next Mushoku Monday, I'll take care. Oh, I forgot to mention, one of my favorite moments of this set of chapters was the point in which Luis is, like, confronting them because he's knowing that they're looking into him. And Roxy's like, he's getting really close to Roxy. And she's like, "Oh, wait, this is my chance that I can charm him and maybe get the information out of him directly." And so she suddenly turns to him and goes, Fiddle, I want to know more about you, Luis." She's the most freaking cutest thing ever. And I'm like, oh, that charm's gotta work. No, it implies that Luis is like a total playboy, like constantly just like making comments about like, "Oh, you must be after my charm. I must have stolen your heart," or whatever. Yeah, definitely trying to work the librarian lady like crazy. But like, yeah, this little brief moment of like, damn, if that wouldn't slay me like easy, I'm not sure how that doesn't slay him and kill him that quickly. If poor Gafu's all nearby, he's probably just dead on arrival to the hospital. It was super freaking cute.